Lesson 1.2 The Remediation of Ourselves. The phenomenon of identification is not original. It is characterized by certain peculiarities. The identification process has been a constant over the course of human evolution. When faced with trouble or danger, it was vital for individuals to merge into the group and not emerge from the group, avoiding to stand out as individual. The mimetic acts of blending in within the group and of the collectivity did satisfy the need of protection, and still today it is an essential condition for the survival of individuals. The search for individuation, understood as a process of differentiation from the social environment in which we identify and recognize ourselves. It lies at the basis of the competition process for the acquisition of resources, which are limited in their availability. Food, energy, affection, economic resources. For many individuals, not being recognized in their unique singularity and value represents an authentic existential catastrophe. One of the most common ways of belittling artists, be they painters, musicians, sculptors, choreographers, or whether, is to dismiss them as being second-rate, meaning that their art, and hence their talent, is incapable of distinguishing itself from the crowd of works and artists that have come before them, and that apply not only to art. Standing out can sometimes be a primary goal of personal fulfillment, which must be pursued with strategy and sacrifice. There is an element of exceptionality in the individuality that we tend not only to admire deeply, but that we try to reach personally. Identification and individuation alone, however, are not sufficient to guarantee success in survival and in social interaction. Thus, while there is a need to be confused with the group with which we identify, at the same time there emerges the need to distance oneself from conformity to be able to be individuated as individuals. The two actions seem apparently diametrically opposites, but they are complementary and cannot be disjoined. They are not in our changing society. In the first place, we identify with many groups, each with their own culture and specific linguistic codes, and are forced to move frequently and problematically between the different contexts in which we identify ourselves. Individuation to express our originality is something we always try to achieve. What emerges here is the complementary of the process of identification and individuation in the current stage of the digital transformation. First of all, we are faced with an exponential growth in the demands that society places on us, both in real life and online life. Secondly, every single action of our social acts are registered as a single entry, which expressly marks the passage from the state of identification to the complementary state of individuation. Thirdly, we perform identification as acts intentional and explicit, and we constantly carry out automatic acts of individuation. Discussion of the form and intensity that social interactions are assuming in the transition underway are just one subset of the context in which the revolutionary and transformative power of the digital emergence. At this slide, as with the full set of impacts of the digital, analytical capacity is compromised in a major way. When it comes to the digital commentators, in all their various modes, are shown a certain enthusiasm in their evocation. A bipolar enthusiasm in their evocation shifting between what can be characterized as an apocalyptic stance, where the commentators place on the effects of being the bearer of bad news, and the subtle pleasure to claiming authorship to such catastrophic prediction, what can be characterized as an apologetic stance, where enthusiasm can be conveyed in a more natural and explicit way in the conviction of having discovered or revealed extraordinary opportunities for us, for all. The result is a prevalently sensationalist outlook played out, more on the marketing plane, understood here essentially in a political and economic sense, that own an analytic plane aimed at understanding the phenomenon in the present and its implication on the prospect for the future. Rather than fusing attention on a narrative determined by various approaches and orientation, an analytic plane should try to delve beyond the opacity which tends to shroud the true substance of the phenomena. The first level of analytics focus in on technologies, especially in the case digital technology. The now consolidated presence of digital technology in the IT economy and society dates back to the second half of the 20th century. To summarize its impact in a nutshell, we can talk about three general stages that have led up to our day and age. 1. The management of process and individual productivity. 2. Robotics and its industrial application. 3. The web in its various articulations. What characterizes the stage we are living in today, in which the purpose of the digital has gone beyond the evolution on the web, is its capacity to graft itself into every single moment of individual and social action.